Mr. Secretary, honored veterans, and distinguished guests. We gather today on the shores of Normandy to remember one of the most consequential days in human history, the Allied landings on June 6, 1944, known to the world as D-Day. On that morning, the horizon filled with thousands of ships and aircraft. Young men, many barely out of school, crossed the English Channel into a storm of steel and fire. They stepped from their landing craft into cold water and chaos, carrying with them not just rifles and packs, but also the hopes of a world longing to be free. Those beaches, whose names are forever etched into history, Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, Gold Beach, Juno Beach, and Sword Beach, became the proving ground of courage. For the United States, the cost was staggering. At Omaha Beach alone, American forces faced devastating fire as they struggled to climb the bluffs. Yet they did not turn back. They advanced, yard by yard, cliff by cliff, because they understood that freedom itself hung in the balance. These soldiers came from farms and factories, from big cities and small towns across the United States. They were teachers, mechanics, students, sons and brothers. Many would never return home. More than 2,500 Americans were killed on that first day. Thousands more were wounded. Today, they rest in solemn rows at this cemetery, overlooking the very beaches where they fought. Each white cross and Star of David marks a life cut short, but never forgotten. Each represents a story of courage, of sacrifice, and of devotion to a cause greater than oneself. But D-Day was never the story of one nation alone. It was the story of an alliance, of nations standing shoulder to shoulder in defense of liberty. American soldiers fought alongside the forces of France, the United Kingdom, Canada, and others. Together, they opened the road to the liberation of Europe. Together, they proved that tyranny could be defeated when free people stand united. We are especially mindful that the people of Normandy were not merely witnesses to this history. They were participants in it. French civilians endured occupation, risked their lives in resistance, and welcomed Allied troops as liberators. The bond forged between the United States and France is not simply diplomatic. It is written in sacrifice and sealed in friendship. The men who stormed these beaches did not fight for conquest. They fought for principles: freedom, democracy, and human dignity. They believed that those ideals were worth defending, even at the cost of their own lives. Our responsibility, generations later, is to prove them right. We honor them not only with ceremonies and monuments, but with our commitment to preserve the freedom that they fought to secure. We honor them by standing together as allies and friends to defend liberty. And we honor them by remembering the courage of young Americans who crossed the ocean to defend the continent they had never seen. Remembering the partnership between our nations that changed the course of history. And remembering that on these very beaches, ordinary men performed extraordinary deeds that helped save the world. May we never forget what was achieved here. May we always remain worthy of their sacrifice, and may the spirit of those who fought on the beaches of Normandy continue to inspire our nations and the world to defend freedom whenever and wherever it is threatened. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Kushner.